Hey, and welcome to She Is More Than Existing. This is the podcast that is about keeping it real. It is beyond my work as a spiritual healer, as a psychic medium. This is about the woman who exists before it all, within it all, and truly knowing that I also have my own identity and my own truth that I live in. I am a human being before I am anything else. And this takes me back to really, truly uh, creating this podcast and every other podcast with the intention of love, and to also know that it is created from a place of just being able to show other women that our true authentic self is really there. We are not the roles that we play. We are not the characters of our stories, that we are real. We are true. And when we want to be true to ourselves, it means that we can acknowledge where we are, what we are existing in. And this podcast is about not calling ourselves out, but calling ourselves up. And that has been a journey for me. It's been a hard one for myself to do, for me, myself, and I, for myself to do. My name's Corrie Thorne. I am the spiritual emotional consultant, the spiritual healer and teacher, the psychic medium. I am a little bit of everything. Titles and roles just kind of like, ugh. I call myself like that unmarketable so many times that it's just like, how do I identify myself? I don't want to be identified by any of those. I just would love to be able to be just Corrie. And that is a part of More Than Existing. I didn't want to just exist. I am an author and creator of More Than Existing, the book and the whole program. I've done. I'm starting to notice in my journey of calling myself out is is that taking ownership and responsibility for your life to do the healing work, the personal healing journey that I have taken, was that I really had to do a lot of calling my own self out on my own bullshit. Whereas now, what I'm recognizing is that it's time to start calling myself up. I have not been very good at holding myself into a standard of love and truth, of the virtues of by which I exist within, or by which I live with, within my heart and within my soul. My connection to God consciousness is strong. I channel Jesus, Mother Mary, and I also channel the beings. So it's a little bit of everything. I'm a collective of energy. And but what I find myself acknowledging now is that I'm having a lot of aha moments. I just turned 50 in April, April Fool's Day, actually, April the 1st. And I turned 50 years old. And prior to that, I was starting to have some awareness around my name and around who I am, all the way back to the beginning of time, like to being given my name and how I had so many, like, I hated my name, which is not really Corey. It's Karina. And I say, I hate my name. I hate that name. And you realize that's when they would call out your name or use the name, it was always when you're in trouble or it's time for you to come home, and they were kind of like it's like desperation or anger or something that was tied to that name. And then when people would make fun of me or sing the song that was Corina's song, I would get like, oh, just like so embarrassed. And so many moments that came with that. And I would call myself like all kinds of names. And so I recognized in that journey was that I'm very good at inspiring everyone else, or I had been. I still am. I'm very good at inspiring everyone else. I'm very good at helping everyone else, but I was still very good at putting myself on the back burner, but also putting myself on the back burner of inspiration, of that I am a successful woman, and not acknowledging my accomplishments, my success, or what I had done. And so every time someone would speak about me, I would make jokes about what I have accomplished, what I have done. Humor. Humor hides hurt. And so when we are constantly making fun of each other and calling each other out, we don't realize that a lot of that is masking our own hurt. And when your humor is a humor that is constantly lashing out without even knowing it, we think it's funny. And that we keep calling our friends out, we keep calling family out, we keep calling each other out, we keep calling ourselves out, we keep, making fun of ourselves. So if someone would, make a compliment about, oh my God, like you wrote that book, you did that work, And I would be kind of ashamed to say, yes, I did. I did that. And I would laugh. I would make a humorous joke about, yeah, it's a little book. I'm not really a writer. I'm not a writer. I'm a creator. I'm a seer. And yeah, so you just have to ignore the fact that the book is not really written by a writer. I'm not a professional. I'm just a person. And I would and I would laugh at those things. What I didn't really realize, no, I knew. I freaking knew. I can't even see, I can't even tell a lie. What, what I recognized was that I was constantly doing this, that I could not acknowledge my own success. I could not acknowledge my own worth. And I'm so freaking good at it. I write books, I teach this. But when it came to myself, I was using humor. Humor mask pain. Sorry, moving my microphones in the wrong spot. Humor mask pain. It really does. But humor from a healed heart is belly laugh funny. Humor doesn't come at the expense of somebody else. And when our humor is at the expense of somebody else, are we secretly holding and or harboring something about the people that we're laughing at, people that we're making jokes about? Is there something there that we need to explore further? Sometimes it's not always. But I just always remember my mother saying, like, just keeping it real, I just knocked everything off the desk. So I just always remember my mother talking about, um, humor. Oh, my dad made fun of everybody. He laughed at everyone. Like that was the thing. He just made fun of people. Was he making fun? Like, and I would love to speak to him now. Like, no, I guess I could. I could channel in and speak to him. I could get in there, but to be able to be able to speak to the person that existed within it in the time. So to be able to speak that through, I know myself and my mom has spoke about this lots, and how humor really does mask pain and how we hide behind it. But it also, we do it for ourselves and we don't realize is that, there's a point of calling ourselves out and taking ownership and responsibility that works very, very well for, doing your healing work. And by that, you do it in a loving way. It's with compassion, kind, saying, you know what? I played my role. And when we look at the fact that we've all played our role in our existence and our stories from our adult, as a little innocent little child, there's there no. But as we age and as we get into early adulthood, teenage years, there's a lot of areas of our lives when we think, I really wanted it so bad that I was willing to ignore this, ignore that. And so, there is that ownership and responsibility, and there is being able to call ourselves out for that. But calling ourselves up is holding ourselves, it's not just holding ourselves up to accountability, it's holding ourselves up to the light. Holding ourselves up to the light, walking into the light, moving forward, shifting up so that, shifting our energy into a place of being able to see our worth and our value without laughing at ourselves. There was nothing funny about writing the book. It was painstakingly years, and it turns out to be a little small book of love. And but it's amazing how you could spend so many years existing in so many stories, and when it's written and then you delete the things that you don't want to share, it's a book of no fillers. It's just a book of truth. And that if we lived in our truth and not in the fillers, not in trying to fluff it up, explain it, justify it, or on the run, or constantly trying to be something we're not, the pages would be a lot less, but the content would mean a lot more. And that's the whole thing, is that my book has a content that means a lot because all the value is placed in not having to create a story. That's what More Than Existing was about, not creating a story. And that's kind of where I am right now in my life, in my personal life, is I can't keep laughing or making jokes or calling myself out when I have done the work. I've put the work in. It is time to start calling myself up. It's time to start looking at my life in a different way. And I'm sharing this. I share these so that you can see this within your own life, that you may have been on a long journey. And what's wrong with pointing out your good qualities? What's wrong with saying that you've done well, that you've succeeded? What's wrong with being successful? And why do we have to keep apologizing for success? What I've come to realize is that I have spent a lifetime denying myself of the being, of the beautiful being of me, of my existence upon this world and within this life. And because I've been here so many times, is what I like to say, is that the wise ones, the wisdom of it all, is that I've often played that role of just thinking, well, it doesn't really matter. I can just let that go. I don't really matter. I can let that go. So, a lifetime of pushing myself down, pushing myself back, holding myself back has conditioned me to believe that I really wasn't here to be the queen of this world, the queen of my life, but I am. And to be, and I remember like being made fun of and being called, queenie, bossy, all of those things. I'm like, yeah, um, I'm gonna call myself up to this. I just have a very small, like, the fillers and the repeat stories that I see people that I love keep repeating and doing over and over again. And I'm like, no, you know what? It's just wrong. Like, if I've taken ownership and responsibility, I don't have to sit here and listen to you tell me to try to convince me through your stories of what you're doing is right when you know it's wrong. And I can't sit here and say it's okay. I can't sit here and laugh as people are making fun, as you're making fun of yourself for doing harmful things. I just don't find things funny that are actually from hurt and pain. Now, when I stub my toe and I fall over and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, and the pain, and then I cry and then I laugh, yes, and I can laugh that off because usually it means I'm in a rush. But I can give myself the acknowledgement, the time to acknowledge the real pain with the F bombs and the jumping around and to acknowledge the pain. And when we acknowledge our pain and when we acknowledge our truth, when we stop denying ourselves our own healing journey, such as grief, our time within grief, our existence within everything we need to exist in, our celebrations, when we give ourselves time to, when we acknowledge our celebrations, our wins. So in my More Than Existing program, I always have on the bottom of all the worksheets, what was your win of the week? Very few people will ever come in and say, hey, I want to share my win of the week because we are never conditioned and I don't push it. So, ladies, if you're listening, know that I wait for you when I ask you if you have anything to share, anything to ask. There's an opportunity, there's a door that is open to share that, to share those wins, to share your nuggets, to share your truth, to bring yourself up into the light, to hold yourself up to the light, hold yourself up to your truth of your blessings, of the goodness of you, that there's something more to us. And I would say my last life, I might have been a queen that was like had her head taken off or something. So I'm doing everything to make sure I'm not a queen. Or, who do you think you are from the royal family, from Rockefeller? Like all those things were jokes, butts and joke. I was the butt of the joke of those things in my life. And then I look back and go, well, yeah, I should treat myself as if I'm royalty. If I treat everyone else like they're royalty, so folding my partner's laundry. I'll fold his all nice and neat and put his all nice. And then I wasn't doing the same for me. And then I realized that. And so then I start going to my drawers and I ordered all this stuff and organized my drawers and my put all my bras and my undies and all my t-shirts and tank tops and yoga pants and I reorganized it and I put it in place. And then I seen a truth of another story. Whereas everyone says, "Oh God, she's got so much clothes, she's got so much," and no, I didn't. I had a lot of scraps. I had a lot of old things that were like $5 shirts that were, I might have wore once or twice and then they tore, or like there was very little in my closet that was of royal value to me. That would be representation of my true worth and my true value. No statement pieces or very few that really stood out. And as I stood in my closet and I looked at my drawers all wide open, with the drawers wide open, I seen something else of a truth. That when they were all cluttered, there was a whole lot of junk. There was a whole lot of clutter in there. I couldn't see what I had. And I would laugh at it and I would make jokes about um how I was so messy. And other people would, oh, she's so disorganized, and and all of those things were hurtful things. And I used to argue back, say, I'm not. I don't have time. Like, I really don't have fucking time. My life is like, my life is so busy. Like, there's so many things. And then I realized, well, that's another place that where I don't do service to myself and I don't hold myself up to the light to give myself time. So my whole life is not that I'm disorganized or I like disorganization, is that I would laugh off the fact that I don't give myself enough time to do anything. And finding that place and finding my way into there. And that was how I worked my way through my clutter coach training, was acknowledging those places of treat yourself as if you're royal. Treat yourself as if you matter. I tell everyone else. And what I've come to realize, and I wrote this down, my life, my last life, it's if it was the queen, then I am royal. The guru, the wise ones, those ones that are all exist within me and through me, are all something that I would have been or that I am within this lifetime. So if I am that way, if I am of that way, then it is my birthright to live a royal life, to live a life that I can hold myself up to the light, to hold myself to the standard of worth, to hold myself into the arms of love, to love myself enough to treat myself as if I'm worthy, as if I am of value, to no longer discount, to no longer use, to allow humor to wash away the pain, to no longer you to never you, laugh, hide my pain at the expense of somebody else through humor. It is the most hurtful thing that we can do. It is a pain story. And I've existed within it my whole life in one way or the other. And it devalued me, making fun of the weird, quirky oddness. And now as I hold myself up, I'm like, hmm, my life really is full of a lot of abundance. I I am pretty freaking organized in a lot of ways. There's things that I don't want to have to do, and that's probably okay. And I have a lot of love, and I am loved. I couldn't let myself be loved in my relationships. I was constantly trying to like find something that had to be wrong. It's what we do, right? Wealth, joy, happiness, what are they? And what do they mean? And in that place, I could hold myself up to those now. And I put myself up to the light. And I hold myself to the light and I look in and I'm like, holy, look in there. There are some golden nuggets in there. There's some real blessings in there. This is where I realized I am ready to live, to find peace and contentment, to know that I can not have to have a nervous kind of giggly laugh or to make some sort of joke about when my book or about my work or about who I am or about the psychic medium, about any of those things, that those are my truths. This is the life I live, and that I've succeeded in a lot of areas. I've accomplished a lot of greatness. And I always would say it's, being underestimated. I underestimate me. I devalue me. I push myself down. So I wrote this back on May the 14th, and I'm only just starting to step into it now. Once you become aware of it, you start to live it. And there's no going back, much as we try. On May the 14th, I have taken a oath to live in my standard of love and truth to the virtues of my seventh ray, which, that's a spiritual talk, but that is to live in ceremony, to live in ceremony in this life, to celebrate this life, to celebrate myself. And I said, at this point of at this stage of the game, at 50 years old, it's not a rebirth for me. I'm not being reborn. I've died and come back to life while upon this earth many times by letting things die. What I have come to realize, what I've really come to realize, is that this is my comeback. This is this is this is revival. I've taught all the goddess within, the soul revivals and soul retrieval work, like really truly going to that place of finding the way home and taking back the pieces of me and giving back the pieces that are not me. And that I've been through the recovery. I am not what I was. And I have no shame in who and what I was. And I have no and I have no desire to any longer make those versions of myself the brunt of my own jokes, but to hold her up, to hold that version up and say, you did it. You were there. You have been there. I used to be so afraid of roller coasters. Still might be, because I got sick once. So I stopped riding for years. And what I realized was the last time I rode a roller coaster was with a dear friend. We called him Spike. And he used to make me laugh. And when he passed, I never rode roller coasters again. He had so much humor. People used to say, we never thought that would ever be him. But that's how we hide. We use humor to hide and mask pain because we don't know how to ask, to reach out. And when everyone else laughs at us, teases, makes fun, we just follow suit. So we follow suit to what we have existed within. I'm no longer laughing at myself or using humor to mask pain. I speak my pain. I've healed through that pain, and now I'm holding myself up to that royalty, into that birthright. And I'm sharing this so that you can find that within you and find the value, find your worth. To catch yourself every time you discount your worth, your value, every time you give your credit away, your shining light away. And don't get me wrong, supporting, working together, helping each other grow, evolve, that comes with maturing women who know that they can work together and not lose themselves, that they can do beautiful things together. It's how we deny ourselves and what we deny ourselves of. And that we would never put a crown on our head. We'll never let ourselves be seen with a crown and a tutu because God forbid if we seem as if we are showing off or as if we are bragging or as if we think we're something special. Is it not time we think our way into something special? Is it not time that we start to see ourselves and hold ourselves to that new light? I am. I have stepped into my role as the guru, as the wise ones, as I am my channel. I am the healer that exists within me. Because if they've walked up on earth, they have been imprinted within us. So there's parts of us that are of this. And if I am a child of the God consciousness and I'm of a golden light, then does that not mean that I have a birthright? Does that not mean that you have a birthright? We all have a birthright to live beautiful lives. And when you see yourself in beauty, when you start to understand what beauty really means, what it means to to live in your beautiful life, it means that you exist with nothing but love and light, and that you care on such a level for yourself and you live life full. We will have to face those moments. There's no denying them. But those moments, those are the moments that we can't avoid. So why do we torture ourselves, deny ourselves, live in a less than, punish ourselves in any more times than we need to? Time to rise. Time to start calling yourself up, not calling yourself out. And if there's areas you need to call yourself out, then call yourself up to the standard. Acknowledge, heal what you need to heal, and then put yourself in the light and see the love and provide to yourself love and know that humor is for us to have belly laughs when we laugh together with friends, when we don't laugh at each other, not in the way of masking and hiding hurt. If you're hurt, speak of your hurt. Don't project it onto another. Don't make another second guess themselves, and don't second guess you. That is my podcast of this week. That's my conversation. And I truly hope that you are really getting something from these stories. I am a storyteller. I share through stories, and that in some way this resonates with you, and that through this story you can, through my voice, through my stories, that you can turn it to your voice and see yourself and your stories, your version. No one else is walking in your shoes but you. I can only, there's no, I don't know how you feel or what you exist in because I'm not there. But I do know that we've all existed within stories and pain and hurt. We've all been to some degree at some level there. But to know that we can hold space with love, we can find things to laugh and to cry about together, and we can be together, we can grow together, we can evolve together. But most of all, it's not someone's job to rise you up, it is yours. And when you get a compliment, say, thank you. Show gratitude, appreciation, and love. It is the most beautiful thing that you have. And to it hurts others when we discount ourselves. So show that gratitude. Be thankful for the blessing of the day, the love and light that was shown to you. And today, say thank you to you, always being there, for showing up. And I'm going to continue to keep calling myself up and keep holding myself up to letting myself be the queen. And that's not a negative thing. If you go really start to do the healing, you'll discover, hold yourself to that, that it's okay to treat yourself as if you are royal. You are not less than, you are more than. And we are here to more than exist. But this is, she is her own creation. She is more than existing. And this is the journey of the everyday woman. I love you much. Thank you for being with me, and I will see you next week. Mwah.